Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel, and without further ado, let's jump right into it. According to the latest data, Ethereum is now settling $21 billion a day in value, whereas Bitcoin, and I say this lightly, only is managing to settle roughly around $2.6 billion at the exact same time. The data was shared by a Twitter user by the name of CryptoMaxi, got it, who shared the tweet with the caption, "You tell me where the future lies." Here's the tweet for it right here. And there's a little chart. It got a whole bunch of numbers and stuff all over the place and basically shows exactly what we were just talking about. The tweet generally shows the user's belief in Ethereum as a more potential coin than Bitcoin and other altcoins. However, some of the users considered this to be pointless as a comparison for Ether, as Ether is used for gas for dApps as well. The user also mentioned that Bitcoin and Ether are fundamentally different, questioning his real point with the comparison. One, his real point was that he believes that Ethereum is better than Bitcoin. I think that is extremely clear. And two out of like five, one of the other main points is that this is kind of the reason why Ether is used for gas. You might notice that a lot of the blockchains, when it comes to their NFTs or when it comes to their smart contracts or when it comes to anything else they have going on their project or platform or blockchain, they're using the main coin. The point is to use the main coin for everything so that it gets more usage. In a blockchain where you're talking about that Ethereum is deflationary and trying to be more deflationary, it's because of the coin burn. It's because the burn is happening on every single transaction that's happening also within the network. So it just does make a lot more sense. Ethereum is the largest blockchain on the planet that we have right now. So it does make sense that it would be doing $21 billion plus every single day. The really weird idea, at least for me, is in the next year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, we're going to be seeing Ethereum doing easily $200 billion per day. And after every 5 days, when it's doing $1 trillion, it's going to be, I think, a bit staggering to understand exactly, once again, like how early that we actually are right now in the cryptocurrency space. We had news a couple of weeks ago that I think Bitcoin last year, I think did... was it seven? No, it was way more than seven. I think it was $14 trillion worth of movements for it's huge. It's staggering. Like we saw this as well for Tether as well, for Bitcoin, numbers for Ethereum, like how much more they're doing than like the largest banks and institutions on the planet. So not even that this is I didn't even consider this to be an Ethereum versus Bitcoin thing. It's more like, look at how much is moving through these blockchains. Look at how much is moving through these systems that aren't really controlled by any one particular person. There are thousands and tens of thousands of nodes and validators across these blockchains. And then to think that they're working in this way without the need of the SEC or the CFTC or someone pulling the levers to say how much can and can't be pushed through these systems, it's kind of incredible. That's what I find more fascinating than the actual, Bitcoin's better kind of argument. It's like, no, why can't we all win at the exact same time? Why does someone have to release information like this and you simply have to assume that anyway, the point is, I believe the future is incredibly bright for the cryptocurrency space, especially over the last couple of years as we see the amount of adoption really, really picking up. But yeah, that's the Ethereum doing. Do you understand how much $21 billion? There are. Anyway, it's a lot of money. Let me not have a whole spiel going on. But the point is, 21 billion's a lot of money to have in one day. And this is with prices not even being back at their all-time high and not even being 2 or 3x bull run prices during an all-time high. That's the Ethereum, $21 billion a day, and Bitcoin still doing, it says Bitcoin struggles to settle. $2.6 billion? All right, it's a lot. Let's move on. Also in the what? This is surprising. I would have never thought that this would have happened. It's not in the news every single day. Binance, the most popular cryptocurrency exchange in the universe, has launched Binance.bh. The announcement was made through a press release. The Binance.bh platform will let Bahraini users make deposits and withdrawals in their local currencies and access a range of regulated products and services from Binance. The products and services include top-ups and withdrawals in local currencies. For Bahrain users to avail of this functionality, they must link their bank accounts with their Binance.bh accounts. It seems logical. That's how most of the world works right now. This expansion, led by Binance, was conducted under the guidance of the Central Bank of Bahrain and the Economic Development Board. The news came after Binance mentioned that it would be hiring people while everyone else is also firing people. The Bahrain Central Bank Governor Rashid Al-Maraj stated, as part of the ongoing collaboration between banks and industry and sector leaders, the Central Bank of Bahrain welcomes Binance's decision to establish a regional headquarters for its Middle East operations in the country. CBB aims to develop a supervisory framework that facilitates innovation and appropriate regulatory controls for encrypted assets trading services provided DERs and their clients based on global trends and developments in financial services. There's also many more quotes here, but basically the point is that I find it fascinating that everyone else in the world now has cryptocurrency regulations. And when you hear from the head of the central bank being like, hey, crypto's here, we're going to figure out how to regulate it, but definitely, thank you, Binance, for entering our country. It's a clear trend shift from where we were many years ago, where banks were pretending that they didn't like cryptocurrencies. So cool. Binance is in the news every single day. Normally about them getting regulatory approval to do something in this country or that country. I assume Binance will have a Binance for every single country, potentially by the end of this year. Not much more to really dig into, except for the fact that Binance keeps getting bigger and bigger. So that's, also news. All right. Yeah. Let's move on. Also in, what? There's no way that could happen. The ministers of finance of the countries in the Eurozone have reaffirmed their support for efforts to prepare for the potential launch of a digital euro. Meanwhile, the single currency area's monetary authority sought to reassure future users that the new currency will be, and I quote, preserving privacy by default and by design, end quote. A lot of people, so one of the, if not the main discussion over the last 5 years has been the introduction of a digital blank. It can be digital dollar, euro, Canadian dollar, peso, you name it. The conversation's there. This is supposed to be the beginning of the launching of the worldwide central bank digital currency stablecoins, whatever word you want to throw inside there. Luckily, a lot of people around the world have brains, I think that's the word I'll use, and have been looking into this and looking at the discussions that have been happening between world leaders and other governments as to how these stable coins from countries are actually going to function. One of the main points that people have been figuring out is that, well, wait. If I go to an ATM and I take my money out, I can buy whatever I want. There's no real tracing of the transaction because A, it's my money, and B, it's my money. However, if everything is digital and I go into a store and buy something that I want to do because I am an adult, would you know what that is? And a lot of governments have kind of sat there and went, what? We would never want all your information as to what you're buying and when you bought it so that at some point we can actually hold it against you. If you heard the tone of my voice, there's one country in particular that's already doing this. There's a country right next to India and right below Russia. You can look into this. This is a real thing. You know how if you live in the States or anywhere else, basically, you have like a credit score. You know, if you do this, your credit score goes up. If you do this, your credit score goes down. It's usually like, are you getting into bankruptcy? Are you getting into debt? It's a million and one things that are currently going on. However, in the other country, if you happen to purchase something, use your imagination. If you purchase something that you would like to have be private and other people not know what it is, with their digital currency, that transaction information would actually be sent to the government, and they in turn would actually lower your credit score because they deem that to be the word's not even not necessary. It's more like they don't want people to actually have access to those things. There's also a story from about a year or two ago where people found out, or allegedly, that their credit scores were also going down because they were buying too many video games. Yeah. So what happens when that country is mimicked by the other countries and they start to say, well, we want to do the exact same thing. If you bought something that you should not be buying, or you're spending too much money on X that you deem as an adult that you would like to buy, should you be getting in trouble for that? The answer is no for those of you who didn't catch the drift. So now the Eurozone is trying to say, hey, if there is a digital euro, we will make sure that it is private. But you can't do that. What's the point of creating a digital currency that is you are meant to know where the transactions are going? We know that central bank digital currencies and central bank stable coins are used to track transactions because they believe in their heart that tons of people are skipping out on their taxes. So they want to know where all the money's going. So by default, at the end of the year, they can say your mobile phone is attached to your bank account and these transactions happened and you went here in the world and you bought this and you sold this and this happened. We are taking X amount of taxes because this is what we are seeing. So by default, it cannot and will not be private because they're doing this because they want further monetary control. Finance ministers of the EU member states that have adopted the common European currency, the Eurogroup, met on Monday in Brussels to mark Croatia's ascension to the Eurozone and discuss current matters from the economic situation to the fiscal policy conditions in the Euro area. One of the topics discussed was the advancements of the initiative to issue a digital version of the euro. In a statement adopted by the forum, the government officials vowed to continue their involvement with Pascal Donoghue, the president of the informal format, quoted as saying, "What we plan to do is continue with our political engagement with the European Central Bank and with the Commission as they move forward in their processes, because what the European group recognized today is that many decisions that await are inherently political." I'm going to tell you this right now. The moment you thought 2020 and 2021 were wild, if we get news that the euro and the US dollar are going to trace every single thing that you do and where you go and how you do it, and cash becomes outlawed, it's going to get a bit wild is all that I'm going to say. That's the news. This was, of course, major news. A lot of people are looking at this to see exactly where this is going to go. These things are going to be launching. Governments think that people are lying to them, even though the governments are the liars, and they are trying to make these digital currencies happen. But there's going to be backlash when people realize exactly what this entails. That's the European Central Bank, Eurogroup, Euro money people talking about the European Central Bank Digital Euro project. News. And yeah. Oh, let's move on. Also in the news, the Securities and Exchange Commission of Thailand has issued new regulations on custodied cryptocurrencies. Companies offering crypto custody services are now required to establish a digital wallet management system to accommodate efficient custody of digital assets and keys and ensure safety of their clients. I feel like that's a given that should have been happening before. I would like to assume in my heart of hearts that the major cryptocurrency exchanges already have a dedicated digital wallet system that is already keeping our coins in cold storage and not in harm's way. That just seems kind of logical. Thailand's SEC announced on Tuesday that it has issued new rules on the management of digital wallets for custody of digital assets and keys. The regulation went into effect on the 16th of January. The Thai SEC explained that businesses that provide custody for services for clients' digital assets must establish a digital wallet management system to accommodate efficient custody of digital assets and keys to ensure safety of their clients' assets. So, logic, but I am happy that this was put in writing, because we all know that there would have been one cryptocurrency exchange who would have launched and were like, we don't have to protect this stuff, do we? I don't think there's no law. Should we just keep the coins? Remember the other one? Yeah, don't forget about that. If you don't remember last year, remember the crypto platform that went down and then they took everyone's money? Everybody remember? Anyway, cool. This is, once again, every other country now has cryptocurrency regulations. This closely follows, I think it's Malaysia, who's also, I think they're trying to make their own crypto. I forgot what it was. I think they're making their own crypto exchange and also working on heavy amounts of cryptocurrency, digital currency regulations because, it's 2023. We're in the future. It just kind of makes a lot of sense at this point. That's the Thai SEC. You got to protect people's money if you're holding it. Law news. Just absolute logic. And yeah, let's move on. Also in why, according to local news outlet News One, Busan, that is Busan, in South Korea will be establishing a decentralized digital commodities exchange. Okay. Officials said the platform is scheduled to start operations this year and will support local cultural content via digital assets. So, one, if you've never seen Train to Busan, I implore you. It's absolutely incredible. Like, please go do so right now. It's a really great movie. Two, for some reason, and I assume it's money. I'm not going to sit here and act like I don't understand what's going on. A lot of countries are now announcing that they're all going to be making their own cryptocurrency exchanges. I understand that countries are doing this in effort to try and get a large amount of the fees that would otherwise be, let's be honest, normally going to Binance or to Coinbase or to Kraken. However, I find it a little cringy and weird because it once again just kind of, but I mean, countries also don't want real decentralization or movements of assets outside of their country. So if they believe that these cryptos are going to make it, and instead of people using bank accounts, they're using crypto exchanges, this kind of then becomes the de facto central bank, if you will, of cryptocurrencies within these countries. And this is why I think we're hearing so many countries being like, we're going to create our own and everyone who's within our borders should just be using this one. But it also defeats the purpose of why we have cryptocurrencies. But I once again think that they also don't care because they want all the control to simply remain within their borders, as we've seen over the last 9 bajillion years around the world. They said, taking advantage of the strengths of Busan, such as the Busan International Film Festival, G-Star, the exchange, will include, it's called G-Star. Will include tokenization of intellectual property rights in the film and games field, as well as gold, precious metals, agricultural and livestock products, ships, It says ships, like as in a boat, real estate, etc. As told by the Busan Digital Asset Exchange Establishment Promotion Committee, the name is too long, the plan involves coordinating domestic financial companies and digital asset exchanges and building a transaction support system serving as the basis for the exchange. They said the Busan Digital Asset Exchange has a decentralized, fair exchange structure that is distinct from existing domestic virtual asset exchanges to protect investors, to protect investors thickly, and lead digital innovation in various ways. So maybe my English no good. They're trying to create a decentralized digital commodity exchange. But we all know that you're going to have to give your information on this website. Decentralized exchanges don't ask you for your information or your address or your ID number. That's why I was telling you before, if you remember, I was like, hey, watch out. Because remember last year, a lot of decentralized DeFi platforms were telling people to link their PayPal and their Visa and MasterCards. They're trying to get your information. I keep trying to warn you. So, interesting. I won't say cool, but I will say this is interesting that this is apparently going to be a thing. We will see in 10 years if this actually ends up taking off or if people decide to use their brains and not use these platforms. However, I will say I always find it better a day when there is regulation and adoption rather than a day with a country screaming that they might ban crypto. So it's like a win-loss win for everyone out there. That's the city of Busan in South Korea is trying to establish a decentralized digital commodities. No, there's no way. Because people would use that and immediately start trading millions of dollars, and then the government would be like, hey, what's going on here? Trying to get their slice of the pie. There's no way that this can actually be decentralized. And I assume that the government means decentralized and that 5 government offices will be running nodes. That is technically decentralized. That's the Busan news. Yeah, sure. Why not? Go for it. Let's move on. Here's some news. Ripple's chief executive officer, Brad Garlinghouse. I remember years ago when people hated Ripple so much and they were trying to make fun of his name and they called him Garlic House. And I was like, that's as far as your brain got. You hate this coin that you don't own so much. You called him Garlic House. The man's a billionaire. He could care less what you call him. He's still making money. Has asserted that over half of the transaction volume, this is very important. Brad Garlinghouse has said that over half of the transaction volume the company processes through its various payment rails now goes exclusively through XRP. Someone has to be able to tell me why this is significant. Oh, fine. I'll tell you. Many moons ago, the main discussion for Ripple/XRP as to why it was not good is that nobody was using it. No banks are using it. No institutions are using it. Nothing that they want to do is actually coming to fruition. I notice quite often, and I know someone just did it, take it back. Quite often, whenever Ripple or XRP is prominently in the news, that's when I get a larger dislike ratio on my videos. Yes, I can see you. I can see you disliking it. Like I actually can. It's very, very funny. It's always the same people over and over throughout the last couple of years. However, the interesting part is that nearly every single negative thing that was said about Ripple and XRP years ago is no longer even a topic of discussion because all the rats, all the rodents, all the trolls, all the gruesome monsters can't really say anything anymore about it. And I know someone's typing right now, except for lies that people told back in 2017 that I told you were also lies. Bringing it on back, another important thing is that Ripple, the company, told us years ago, they said the end goal is to have everything flowing through XRP. Why is this important? Because they're transacting consistently billions of dollars worth of value. For those of you who don't know, you can see on the XRP blockchain, Every time a transaction takes place, a small amount of XRP is actually burned. The more transactions that are going through by everyday people is already burning a huge significant amount of XRP. If you have billions of dollars going through the blockchain, that's also burning a huge amount of XRP as well. That's why the news that we had, for those of you who missed it, it's been about 2 or 3 months now. The company Ripple now officially holds less than half of all XRP. That's because years ago when they were gifted XRP, they had a gigantic, enormous amount of it. So between them selling it to other companies who are using it, to other banks and governments who we've also been hearing from over the last couple of years, not only do they now hold way less than half of all the XRP, more than half of their transaction volume that they're currently doing as a company is now going through XRP. There's literally nothing that anyone can say. And when they win that lawsuit, I know people who hate Ripple and XRP are going to have a very bad day. I know they are going to be devastated in unforeseen ways. The Ripple chief said that this is in a recent fireside chat on CNBC's Tech Transformers. That sounds terrible. Tech Transformers at Davos. That sounds cringy. For context, Garlinghouse made this claim as he explained that the blockchain-focused payments company continued to grow abroad despite their legal troubles within the United States. The Ripple chief pointed out that over 95% of the firm's customers signed in the aftermath of the US SEC's lawsuit are actually outside of the United States. According to Garlinghouse, Ripple is continuing to see growth in this regard. We had news at the end of last year. Garlinghouse made an announcement and basically said, in no uncertain terms, he basically said, we're basically only doing tons of business outside the US because everyone else outside of the United States of America has cryptocurrency regulations. So he was like, I would not be surprised. I assume once the lawsuit's over, tons of US companies are also going to want to do business with them. Like for those of you who missed it, Coinbase is now also has joined the lawsuit on their side against the SEC. So I think once, the lawsuit's over, everyone's going to be back on Ripple's side. But I would not be surprised if they simply you have 193 other countries. Just go do business in them. And they are. He said now well over 95% of the customers we've signed in the last 2 years are non-US. Our activity is growing more and more outside of the United States. What? And it's because you have this confusion in the United States. We're now processing billions of dollars of transactions every single quarter. Yeah. I know someone out there is really excited about this news because it's major news. I'm a very big, I don't know if the term is advocate. If you can do it, do it. Prove everyone wrong. Make everyone feel really dumb, especially if they keep counting you out over and over. Ripple's in the news every single day, not even just for their lawsuit. The amount of partnerships that they have are absolutely staggering. The amount of companies who we've heard are opening up all these payment rails to send money around the world from their companies simply by using XRP, all the banks, all the Middle Eastern partnerships that they got as well. It's absolutely insane. So yeah, only time will tell the true value of XRP. I am of the conclusion we are probably going to see a $10 XRP during the next bull run. The big push bull run. Because, yeah, that's the half of all transaction volume by Ripple is now going through XRP. Billions of dollars. Billions and billions of dollars. Good job, Ripple. Yeah. I felt 5 more dislikes when I said good luck. Because people are so ridiculous. Think of that. You own none of this coin and you still hate it. You might not like broccoli. Do you have it in your house? No. Would you give broccoli a thumbs down if you saw it on Instagram? It doesn't make any sense. Anyway, all right. Let's move on. Also, and this was quite popular news as well. Back in September, the Californian DFPI and other U.S. regulators ordered Nexo to delist from offering Earn Interest Product, or EIP, which is the company's case took the form of crypto asset lending accounts. At the time the charges were filed, Nexo had already ceased offering the accounts to U.S. investors. However, U.S. investors could still use the feature by opting for automatic renewal on already existing accounts. 4 months later, both the SEC and the North American Securities Administration Association, or NASA, literally it's NASAA, announced that their legal actions against the lender had concluded. As a result of the investigation, Nexo has to now pay $45 million in fines. I am going to assume that none of the people who actually were offered these products are going to be getting this money. I assume that $45 million is going right in the pocket of the US SEC and NASA, because that's how corruption actually works. This was very popular news whenever there's something like this going on in the cryptocurrency space. There was something very recently, I don't have a tab for it here, but it was something, I think some former head of the SEC came out in opposition of the SEC, basically saying that he doesn't think that regulation by enforcement is the way to go. The SEC has made it abundantly clear that if they see something, and I air quotes here, wrong, taking place over the course of a 3 to 5 year period, they don't say anything. They wait for enough time to have gone by so that the fees amount to $45 million, as opposed to telling Nexo or Coinbase or Ripple or any other company that something is wrong from the get-go. So they wait to make sure for 5 years that you've done something wrong, air quotes, and then they fine you. That's how regulation works within the United States. Wouldn't it just make a lot more sense if they knew from the get-go that potentially people within the United States were being offered something or allowed to have access to something that is wrong for them, and tell them from the get-go? So cool. The SEC strikes again. I look forward to a future where the words SEC are no longer in the cryptocurrency space, because they're just terrible. I understand regulations. Believe me, I've been here long enough to know that not everything is rose-colored glasses in the cryptocurrency space. There are a lot of scams and things going on. But if you work as a regulator, why not regulate? You don't do it by simply giving people multi-million-dollar fines. Do it from the get-go. I think the U.S. at this point is trying to lose the battle of being the number one in the cryptocurrency space. I can't imagine anything else. I can't imagine why they're doing all of this or not doing all of this. I think they just simply want to fall so far behind that it takes them a whole decade to actually catch up. So, cool. Nexo has to pay $45 million in fines to the SEC and to NASA. And yeah, sure. Why not? Let's move on. I sincerely do hope that you've all been having a great day. Hope you all are having a great morning, afternoon, evening. Whenever you're watching this video, I hope you liked it. Thank you for all the likes, all the comments, all the subscriptions, all the support over the last is just about 6.5, 7 years. It's really weird to think about, but here we are. Thank you all once again, and I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.